Welcome to the Scaz and the Rugby with our good friends at Vodafone. It was an epic weekend of international rugby. WXV is up and running, and wow, did it live up to expectations. Tier 2 in particular. And Shululu. I mean, the fact that I have a voice and I'm not wearing green is a small miracle. The box heard me at Stade de France because I was speaking very loudly in my living room in Twickenham. Even my husband said, shh, shh, shh. The cats were cheering. The World Cup quarterfinals were, that was just box office stuff. Entertainment like we've never seen before. Scaz, are you still on this England's the only unbeaten team in the tournament tip that you were on over the weekend? Because I did not appreciate that response.
Look, someone just needed to point out the facts, If I'm honest, it wasn't necessarily me coming back really competitively. It was more just kind of like almost amazement that was the situation. But yeah, what an amazing weekend. Like, honestly, unbelievable. Like, you think about some of the like pressure games that people have played in. No one would have ever played in games like that, especially obviously the big two on the two evenings. It was just unbelievable to come down to last plays. Just madness. And if I'm honest, I'm absolutely gutted for Ireland and France. Obviously part of kind of the home nation situation. I really, really feel for them. How they've been going all season. But yeah, just two epic games. And come on, England. I'm ready for it, Elma. I'm sure our chat will be absolutely going mental at the weekend. I'm here for it.
I'm so here for the fact that South African men are playing England in rugby and cricket on the same weekend. The cricket one we're not talking about, mainly because we don't want to jinx anything the cricket team does. We can't talk about them until they've won something. But we're so here for a really great knockout game. And we also need to talk about WXV, because if you have been taking your eye off the ball, you have missed out massively. The captain of the Women Boks, a woman from the townships of Cape Town. She's a Khayelitsha born and bred. She's now living in Guildford half the year because, she's international like that, playing in Quins colours. I love this for me, by the way, because then she can come braai at my house. She's got a law degree, so I don't even know why rugby is getting any of her time. I've asked her this before. She's a shining light for women and girls across South Africa and the continent and the world. She's a trailblazer, and I'm obviously the chairman of the Babalwa Latsha fan club. And we finally have her on the Good Scaz Rugby. Welcome, B. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. A bit tired, but I'm 100% fine and so excited to be chatting with you.
I genuinely, my heart was a little sore for you in that post-match interview the other day because you just looked absolutely broken sad. Was it sad? What was it?
Well, it was a bit of, it was a mixture of things. I was sad, a little bit frustrated. I felt for the team. I shared a tear or two. It was just really a whole mixture of passion and just really having the deep desire to win, type of a thing. But yeah, no, I just felt really, really gutted, which I'm over now, by the way.
We won't lean on Scaz here for anything because she was very, very much pro-Scotland in watching that game. She was cheering them on.
Don't say things like that.
Sides of the spectrum. Well, you have announced to the world that you're actually half Scottish, even though no one has traced
I
this.
I flex to my guests, though,
Okay, whatever. Before we get there, B, what was watching the Springboks France game like where you guys were? Were you also shouting at the TV a lot?
Oh my goodness. I wanted to punch the TV. I was shouting at the TV. I sit down and stand up. I was literally physically sweating. It was just crazy. It was so crazy.
Did you watch it all together as a team in a team room environment? Because sometimes when you're supporting people, that can just get mental.
I watched it with just like a handful of my teammates with our coach, who was sitting on the floor. He would get up and sit down and get up and sit down. And he would clutch his head. It was total bonkers in the room. Like just probably about like 5-6 of us. But the screams, the shouting, you would swear we thought that they could actually hear us on the TV. It is just way too close for comfort. Way too close. my heart just couldn't take it.
It has been amazing to see the videos that have come out of South Africa in the last while. The enthusiasm and excitement that's building for what the boys are doing in France. Are you guys seeing that and feeding off that in any way?
Our local fans have been amazing in actually coming out, coming to watch, using social media platforms, like it's all over Instagram and Facebook, which is wonderful to see. Parents are getting involved, their daughters are getting involved. It's a family thing, which is so cool, really, really cool to see. And if they see it, then they'll bring their kids to the stadium, they'll bring their families to the stadium. Then it becomes an awesome family day type of a vibe. And even local clubs from around Cape Town, your Busy Bees, your Blue Jets, etc., are bringing their teams and their girls as well out to the stadiums to come and watch us, which is really amazing. And we really are feeding off of that energy because we are hosting the world basically. And for them to support us is just absolutely, absolutely amazing.
I couldn't tell completely because obviously it was on watching the stream, but it looked like the crowd was quite impressive. And you wouldn't have seen it because you would have been in the change rooms. But at half time, they panned around the crowd. There was music playing, and there was some unbelievable dance moves on show, to be honest with you. And at one point, it was the South African non-playing reserves and the Scottish non-playing reserves. So there's maybe like 4 or 5 players from each side. And the South Africans were teaching the Scottish girls the dance to whatever song was going on. And I just thought, what an amazing moment that was. I obviously had no idea what was going on, but it was, just one of those beautiful moments.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of rugby and being in South Africa. That's our spirit. It's called a Gees. I don't know if you've heard of this word, Scaz, but it's called Gees. It's just an insatiable energy that we have, warm, loving, and just overall really jolly. So I saw that clip actually. It's just really, really heartwarming.
Can we talk about the Gees at the captain's photo shoot? What was going on there? Because there was piggybacking, they were holding hands. You guys had umbrellas. Who gave you an umbrella in the sunshine? What was going on? Talk me through the start and then how you guys ended up on each other's backs.
Listen, it was scorching on the day. And we were worried, no, not we, but somebody was worried about us getting sunburned or whatever. And they decided to give us some umbrellas, which, to be honest, I didn't really need. After all, I am a melanated queen. I'm like, whatever. But anyway, they gave us these umbrellas because it was hot. Then when we met at the actual shoot, it was like just a bunch of friends coming together. Like we just started throwing around jokes, a bit of banter here and there. It was just all around laughter and fun. Like it genuinely felt like we had known each other for the longest time. And then we just had to be creative about it, really. Somebody hopped on somebody's back and I'm like, oh, well, so we may as well hop on my back because I'm bigger than her physically. And then it just became one big party. It was hilarious, honestly.
I love that. Where do you think that comes from? Because a lot of the times these captain's photo calls are sometimes a little stiff. I mean, sometimes it's just quite awkward and people are just standing there trying to look strong. And you guys just didn't have that energy at all. Is this the women's game just flexing? Is this the South African energy? Is it the fact that you were at this beautiful setting in Kirstenbosch and the sun was blazing and everyone was just a little excited to be there?
Well, I thought it was all around excitement, really. I think that's the beauty of the women's game, you know. Yes, we adversaries on the field and we moor each other heavily, but then off the field, you know, it's nothing personal. We are humans and we're able to connect with each other in that manner first before anything else. So it was just a whole lot of excitement, perhaps even, you know, other nations being excited to be in South Africa. As like, in my opinion, South Africa is one of the most beautiful places to visit. So, you know, maybe for them, that too was, you know, just exciting and just sort of set the tone for friendliness, for fun, for laughter and jokes.
Did you see Scotty and Kate Zachary, Rachel Malcolm and Kate Zachary with their little hold hand situation when they did their private one? I was crying. Obviously known Scotty really well. Obviously we've had Kate on before as well. It was so funny.
I must say she's hilarious. She's a joker. Like she's really funny.
Too good.
So we were literally just talking about this before we went live. I just worked with Stacey Walker for a few days, and Scaz was saying that the England girls had a training camp just outside Glasgow, and the Kiwi girls had one in Fiji. And not all places were created equally, and Cape Town is one of those in the Fiji category where it's obscene the way she's showing off. The other day, they had floods and mud through people's houses, and it was just chaos. And now that the women's rugby world has shipped into town, it's like she's just showing a bit of leg, and she's welcomed everyone in. I love that for Cape Town. I love that she knows when to turn up and when to wow people. You were also in Stellenbosch, which, full disclaimer, is where I studied. And if you've never been, I think Stellenbosch is it's probably the most picturesque campus, one of the most picturesque campuses in the world. And that rugby pitch with the stadium kind of into the corner of this mountain range is unbelievable. But also the fans at that uni love a bit of rugby, because the best men's uni side in South Africa over probably the last 15 years is from that university. So rugby runs through people's veins there. And it's not language and it's not race. It's just rugby, full stop. Everyone absolutely loves it and is there for it. Next up, you're going to Athlone. B, for people who don't know the difference between Stellenbosch and Athlone, could you explain it to us like we're from the UK?
Well, Athlone is away from the picturesque scenes, beautiful mountains, and forests and things. Now you are smack bang in the middle of communities. You're where the people are. You're in the heart of Cape Town, where rugby is loved just as much and it's cheered on just as much. The stadium itself is accessible to everyone. Somebody might be living just down the road from it, or just need to cross the road to access it, which is amazing. So we really look forward to playing there again, pulling in the crowds, bringing rugby to the community, women's rugby in particular, to the community, and having just all around a ball of a time, really.
I think that's a really important piece here for people who don't understand the geography of South Africa, because people previously were separated according to race in terms of where they could live. Athlone is not a traditionally upscale white area, and it is a lot more accessible. If you grew up in the townships where Babalwa is from, it's 100 times easier getting to Athlone than it ever will be getting to Stellenbosch. So you're catering to a completely different community there, and it's accessible, and there's such an important bit of work done there in creating awareness and to taking rugby into communities that don't generally have access to international rugby. It's literally on the other side of town from the big rugby stadium that you always see the URC teams and the Springboks playing in. This is really going to grassroots levels and taking as much international rugby to people who wouldn't alternatively be able to see it, which I absolutely love. B, we got a video from Fiona Stockley. Now, when I say Fiona's name, you know exactly who I'm talking
She's
about.
panicking.
She's
panicking.
Fiona Stockley, for those who don't know, serves on the board of the Barbarians. And the Barbarians recently visited Cape Town. Just before WXV, the Women Boks had the opportunity to play the Barbos. And there you guys were in a room with a pretty low ceiling, just, singing little Guijo. And Lynn Cantwell's baby was paraded like the Lion King through the middle of the room. And then someone almost bumped the baby against the roof. And then 6 women reached up and grabbed the baby down and said, whoa, 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 whoa. But I just loved the spirit in this video and the amount of singing, and also all of the white girls getting in on it as well. But what was the response like from the Barbars?
Yeah, Igwijo is it's in our blood. That's what we do. You will never find a South African team not Gwijoing. And little Neo she's our little mascot. Fortunately, Lynn allows us to take her everywhere we go. And she's always in the mix with us, which is the cutest thing. And we all really are protective of her, to be honest. And it was just amazing. It was so amazing how the girls from the Barbars joined in. They didn't have a clue of what we were singing about or even saying. As off rhythm as they were, they clapped along with us, and tried to catch a couple of words here and there, which was great because for us, it's really about, the spirit of it, the enjoyment, bringing people together. That's just who we are. We just love to sing. Any occasion, we rock up Ikuicho.
Yeah, it's fun. If you're next to the beat, you can just jam along. It's all right. So I'm speaking as someone who's next to the beat a lot. Don't worry. Can you tell us something about that game against Scotland? I know the scoreline was 31-17. It felt obviously to me a lot closer than the scoreline suggests. But can you tell us something we didn't see on TV? Give us the insight, because you're there in the dark places where not many people go, including Scazzy. What did we miss that we didn't see on the TV coverage of that game? What were the conditions like? What was the vibe like? You know a lot of these Scottish girls, don't you?
Oh my gosh, I do know a couple of them. I was very happy for Jade to run out again after a long while being injured. I met up with Sarah, aka the giraffe, afterwards, and Beth as well. Those are my teammates, some former now. Just a quick, hey, how's it going? How's everything? Type of a vibe. But the real things that nobody truly get to see are what happens in the locker room at halftime, when you are a couple of points down and you're the captain and your responsibility is to get your team going again for another hard 40 minutes, to get everybody on the same bandwagon in terms of saying, hey, look, I know the chips are on the floor right now. I know that, people, bodies are sore and what have you, but we really, really need to get going. And I at least try, as knackered I would be half the time, I would try, to get, a Braveheart speech going. Not because I must, but really it comes from the heart. Like, I want to really get everybody, going again, but also with enough composure to make everybody understand or re-understand that we still have a game plan, we still have to execute it, we still have to do all these things, but we must win, or not must win, but we want to win as well. So on top of that, there's also my personal sort of game as well, where I'm like, okay, B, you have to calm down now, you've got another 40 minutes to go, and there's just a whole lot going on. So to be able to sort of compress that into a couple of sentences, or a couple of gestures where you hug everybody and you get to calm down again, I feel that's the stuff that people should see, really. Get to see what happens in the change room. Some F-bombs been thrown from time to time. The frustrations here and there. It's really those things that are not so much on the field that people get to miss out. But yeah, it's all part of why we love the game and why we play it, really.
Scazzy, what did you make of Scotland's ability to put in a solid 80-minute performance there? Because this is a Scotland team, even Rachel Malcolm said afterwards, this is the kind of physicality that in the past might have derailed them a little bit. But they
did. I think, having spoken to a few of the Scottish girls, it's one of the most physical games that they've ever played in their entire lives. And I don't think that was a shock to them. I think they knew that was coming. But yeah, I think from their point of view, and certainly the journey that they've been on, they perhaps would have tailed off in the last 10, 15 minutes of a game and almost been out-muscled or not been able to, keep fighting or execute those tries. Obviously, their lineup more worked really well, and that's a really technical piece. And you think about them, they're now professional. They get more time together to actually, really look into that sort of stuff. And actually, it's probably starting to come to fruition. But look, I'm not going to talk about scrums like I know at all what I'm talking about. But just from a pure power point of view, the South African scrum was unbelievable. And you think you can harness that, more technical stuff, perhaps driving mauls in and around the contact area. It's a scary prospect for this South African team, I think, to go to what they can go on and achieve.
Can we talk about Libby and that hit on Chloe Rolly? And the commentator going, she's got some Conor McGregor about her now. That was I mean, does anyone ever let Libby tackle them in training? Because I would stay so far away from that girl. That's like, do you know, sometimes I think the only other comparable back who does stuff like that sometimes, it makes me wince a bit, is Handré Pollard. There's definitely like some level of crazy there going in that hard, because I'm always like, whoa, 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 we still need you for the rest of this game.
Man, how it was beautiful to watch. A pure thing of beauty. And it just came so unexpectedly because she's a back. A 10 at that. You know,
Hey, whoa,
10s
whoa, whoa.
generally are the generals of you know. No, to be fair, you guys literally just boss us around, let us do all the hard work. But that be a 10 actually go in and smash someone. Oh my gosh, easily the highlight of the game. Well, I was so proud of Libby. We all were really. So brilliant from Libby. Loved it. Apart from the scrums, that was my one highlight as well.
What is the secret to the scrumming and the way that you guys showed that off over that encounter? Is there something that has shifted? Has it just come together beautifully? Obviously, you're really integral in that, but it is a massive team effort. And the Springbok scrum for the women, it's genuinely becoming a thing of legend. And I just love seeing it so much.
One thing we have in common with the Springbok men is that we love a good scrum. Really, we do. And I think for us, it's been something that we've been actually working on over, a number of seasons actually. And then it started becoming part of our DNA, and we made it part of our DNA. We are a scrummaging team. There's no secret about that. And then we internalized it, we made it our own, and we ran with it, and we worked on it like incredibly. Every time there's a scrum for an opportunity, I just go, yes, that's exactly what we want. We just love scrumming. We've even nicknamed ourselves according to some of the bomb squad members and things like that. That's how serious it is. So yeah, we love a good scrum. We love a good scrum. That's who we are, really.
I love that. Aseza Hele, can we talk about your mate? So she burst onto the international scene in New Zealand in a big way. I mean, she genuinely announced herself at that World Cup. Everyone was buzzing about her, try scoring, turnovers. And then the great news came that she's also coming to Quins with you for your second season in Guildford. Is this you just doing some recruitment there? How influential were you in this move of Aseza Hele to the PWR? Because she is just box office, and what a joy to behold, just to watch her do her thing.
Gosh, to be honest, I think Aseza did her own PR in terms of where she goes. I had nothing to do with that, I promise. She proved herself on the pitch, and what a marvel, and such a pleasure to play alongside her and not against. So I had to make sure that if she goes anywhere, it's with me, not against me, to be fair. But yeah, no, Aseza is she's a hard runner. She's a brilliant rugby player, and just an overall great human. She's just a big ball of energy that, with such an infectious smile, you can't help but love her. She's just an incredible rugby player and human being. And I was so excited. I still am actually so excited for her to experience the PWR and to be in that type of a setup. I honestly believe that it will take her game like much, much higher, and she'll just be the best number 8 in the world, hands down. So really can't wait to be in the quarters with her, to do our thing and all of that. Really exciting.
How have you found the move over to obviously England, joining Harlequins, playing rugby in the PWR, what will now be? Has that been something that has been an easy transition? Have you enjoyed it?
Of course, I have enjoyed it. I really have. I think, the initial couple of weeks, were a bit touch and go. It was a lot of adjustment from my part, a lot of learning quite quickly, because I was thrown into a game. It was a cup game at the time. In the week that I arrived, literally the weekend, I was already playing, So there was a lot of learning, a lot of adjustment, also just really coming to terms with the fact that I'm in a new environment now where, things are different, but I loved the standard of rugby. It was just amazing. I was surrounded by amazing people who were really helpful, and just really being in an environment where your growth is supported as a rugby player. They want to see you do better, because they can see the potential. And just, I think once I also started realizing that, hey, actually, we are good enough to play with some of the best in the world. I think that's where the mind switch really came. And I was like, you know what, let me just throw myself at this. Let me just smash it. Within 4 games, I had already scored 4 tries back to back. So I think that for me worked. It really worked that I sort of switched on my mind to it. But on the flip side of that, to be honest, homesickness was a big thing for me. I had days where I was like, gosh, I just really miss home. I miss familiarity. I miss you. It's crazy how you'd even miss a South African accent. You'd miss someone who sounds like you, But I mean, those are things that are natural if you're gonna be away for 7 months. Unfortunately, I had, Elma. I don't even think you realize this. I had someone who I could sort of lean on in a way, like just really just spending time with you for me was like. It just helped me to just calm everything down and feel so good, especially that bride that we had. For you, it was just, let's just hang and play rugby. Like for me, it felt homely, I felt a little bit better. I felt like, yeah, I'm okay, actually, it's not so bad type of a thing. But generally, I think now that I've gotten a second full stint of the competition and being away from home again and all of that, I think I'll do a lot better now because all of the initial stuff are now out of the way. Like I know what it feels like now. I know what to do if I feel that I'm spiraling down a dark place in terms of where my mentality is and things like that. I know I can call someone. I know I can jump on a train to Twickenham, and chill out with Elma type of a vibe. You know what I mean? So it'll be a lot better now.
I think the thing that a lot of people don't realize is they see the glamour of you scoring 4 tries in 4 games and they go, B's living the life. She's got all of these new international friends and she's in England where there's lots of electricity, but they don't see the sacrifice and the fact that your sister in Cape Town. So what a lot of people don't know is that Babalwa and her sister Lita are really close and they live together in an apartment. And it's the sacrifice of leaving her behind and not being there to look after her. It's the sacrifice of being away from your family and your people and the ones who really fill your tank. And it's also the sacrifice, and that's what I said. I've said it so many times before, but what I said at the start of having a law degree and this alternative career. There is this parallel existence that is out there that Babalwa could be living. She could be making big bucks working at a shiny law firm in some tower block in Cape Town and not having to slog away at all of the stuff that she's slogging away at and making the sacrifices both financially but also personally that she's making. So talk to me about the decision to uproot your life and come and play rugby here in the UK, but also just playing rugby full stop, because that's a massive privilege and an honor representing your country, but it does come at a very real cost because let's be honest, you're not making the kind of money that 10 times Tawarira did, but you are doing the work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, gosh, there has to be, I think for us, there has to be something deep within that transcends anything and everything else for you to want to do this, for you to want to make the sacrifice, to want to uproot your life and embark on a journey that you aren't even sure of what the outcome might be, And I feel that sometimes, an air-conditioned office somewhere sounds really enticing. But then personally, I sort of get to reflect again and just think of what being in this system means, what it means for South African young women, what it means, gosh, for my sister who looks up to me incredibly, what it means for what we are trying to do with our country, with the people of our country, using rugby as this one great tool to be able to relay strong messages, but also try to sort of effect real and tangible changes within our circles and within the spaces in which we occupy. For me, that is bigger than anything else, really, because Now, not only do we, every time we wear the Springbok jersey, not only do we get to say, we are here, we are pursuing our dreams, we are forced to be reckoned with, we are to be respected, we are breaking down boundaries by merely wearing this shirt. Not only is it that, but it's also saying to young girls that you have a voice. You can find a voice in rugby, that you are valued, that your talents are important, that what we are doing here is for you, is to revolutionize the game in its entirety, to at least try to work towards where we leave the game in a better place than what it was, to open up opportunities, to be the first sometimes of anything, saying that, look, here is a trail, follow it. It's possible now. The barriers are gone. To sort of to say that open up your horizon in your mind and your eyes to the fact that the world is literally our oyster. And here is an opportunity. Rugby is an opportunity. Your talents are, if you work at it well enough, can create these opportunities. And personally, I feel that I may not be able to do all of these things sitting in an office somewhere, earning the big bucks. For me, it's worth the sacrifice. I could retire, let me see, I probably have about another 5-6 more years. Then I think maybe afterwards I could call Alma up and say, hey, that law degree that was in the back pocket is finally being used in one way or another. But that's what it's about for me. That's what's in my heart, to be honest.
I love that so much. I think that's the purpose and that's the why, and it's just so very clear. Coach Louis Kuhn must just love working with you guys because there is just such a deep sense of purpose with so many of you girls. It's a competitive tier that you guys are in with WXV2 as well, because there's a lot here for you guys to play for, and you get to measure yourself against teams that play in the Six Nations. You've got Italy this weekend. You've got Samoa next weekend. Talk to me about this opportunity and what it is you need out of it.
It's such an exciting opportunity, really. I think the more we are able to compete with nations who are slightly above us in terms of world rankings is good for us, because then we get to experience, the intensity. We get to experience, the whole game in its entirety as to what it feels like. Your body then remembers it, your mind remembers it, and you're able to make that type of a connection. Overall, for the general growth of South African women's rugby, it's so important that we get to compete, in competitions such as, the WXV, which is why it's such a golden opportunity for us, because then we get to, understand what we need, out of the competition, what we need for purposes of planning, long-term planning now going into 2025, because every team challenges us in a different aspect of the game. One game we were challenged at mauling, like we were with Scotland. Then a different team will challenge us, at scrum time, like Samoa did, and potentially will again. Italy is most probably going to challenge us in terms of, playing sort of tennis rugby, in terms of kicking, chasing. So there's those three things are like different contrasts, which is great for us. That is exactly what we want. It's a golden opportunity for us, really.
I love that. It has just been great to see Italy play. So exciting, their game against Japan, tons of offloads, really exciting rugby. And then, as you say, Samoa, they are called, sorry, I want to get this right, the Manusina. And I love the quote from Sui, initially in Samoan and then transitioned to English later on. She said, that was actually very good. This was their 26-36 loss to the USA, especially from a small nation. We're a very small nation in Samoa. Just to compete with a nation that's just come out of a World Cup, the more tests we have, the stronger we'll get. And it's just so beautiful to see the way that they turn up and how competitive they are. We need to talk about Tier 3 as well, WXV3. I don't know if you guys even have time, B, to keep an eye on this. Scazzy, last time we chatted about Dubai, we were talking about the heat. Unfortunately, there was a very one-sided result. Ireland 109, Kazakhstan 0. Lots of people questioning the point of this fixture. What is the point of WXV3? Why do we need these matches?
Well, I think first and foremost, probably Ireland are technically not in, they're not a WX3 team. They'll get promoted this year, I'm sure. They obviously just have come off the back of a couple of really tough years institutionally, and that has obviously filtered down to the team. But to Babalwa's point, I think it's exactly that. Like, you have to play Test rugby in order to improve, and you have to play Test rugby against a range of opposition, as she's already said, in terms of that will test you in different ways. Six Nations teams will probably be a bit more kicky and a bit more playing ball in hand. Some of the Southern Hemisphere teams, traditionally more physical, etc. And so often, if you're just proportioned like that globally, then you only ever develop one side of the game, whereas this gives us the opportunity to really just experience different types of rugby, different opposition. The cliche of you only learn by playing, often losing, but you only learn and develop by going through those experiences. You can't develop without experiences in the back pocket. And therefore, I think this is an amazing opportunity to, one, go and experience different cultures depending on where these games are being played, and obviously the opposition that you're coming across, but also in terms of the rugby, an amazing opportunity to get better throughout as individuals, but certainly as teams. And that Kazakhstan result, it was a bit of a skew, but you look at most of the other results, they're really competitive. There's 2-3 scores in them, and that's a super competitive environment to be in, which I think is only a really good thing.
Love that. Now, we've got some juicy matchups this weekend outside of the Men's Rugby World Cup, which I need to get your predictions for shortly. First up, Friday morning, 7 o'clock UK time, England versus Australia. And then Italy versus South Africa, 3:30 UK time, Friday afternoon. I shall be cheering very loudly. And then Saturday, well, there's tons of USA, Scotland, Kazakhstan, Kenya, Spain, Fiji. Saturday morning at 4 a.m, set the alarms. Canada, Wales, the two red teams going at it. S4C showing all three of the Welsh games too. New Zealand play France at 7 a.m. on Saturday, which is massive. So excited for that. Japan, Samoa later in the afternoon, Ireland, Colombia. And then Friday night at 8 p.m, I need to get your predictions, B and Scazzy. Argentina, New Zealand in the Men's Rugby World Cup semi-finals. And go.
I'll have to hand it to New Zealand by about, 12 points.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. I think all the chat's been around how those quarterfinals will be much tougher than potentially the semis, but I think Argentina will give it a good go, but I think New Zealand will be too strong. And the way they're playing the game at the moment, it's enjoyable to watch.
And as Scazzy likes to remind me, the only unbeaten team in the Men's Rugby World Cup at this stage, England. Some people are talking about the fact that they are buying tickets for the final, and I'm just looking at them a little bit.
As English always live in often false hope. We just have to. It's like when we go to the Football World Cup. We're singing 3 Lines on a Shirt and it's coming home for months.
It's coming home. So is it coming home this weekend, Scaz? Give us a prediction. Look, there.
I am never going to bet against my homeland. And I do think there's something in knockout rugby, like how we have been building. It's going to be so tough. And I think the odds are not with us. But there's something in knockout rugby. There's something in a team that are quite desperate to prove themselves, which is, potentially a little bit dangerous. But yeah, ultimately, it's going to be a big old hill to climb.
B, you don't have to be humble. It's okay.
I don't even know. Look, tournament rugby is always tricky. It's really about pitching up on the day. So I must agree with Scazzy. I'm not too sure if England are going to be able to climb that hill. But it's a bit of a hill to climb, if I must repeat what she said. Yeah. I'm not going to put a scoreline to it. I'm not.
Sorry, Elma, you don't get to get away with it. Yours?
I'm going the Springboks by a lot. Like 3 tries. Genuinely. Like, I don't even think it's going to be close. But maybe it's because I was at Twickenham for that demolition of the All Blacks, and I'm still running off the fumes of that kind of energy, but it was unbelievable. And I know the tanks are going to probably be a little empty because the France game was a lot. I mean, even me, I was tired and I was just watching. But I think that the way the bench is being used and the way people have been spreading the game time around for the whole tournament means that the Springboks are probably in the best place in terms of minutes played and distributed amongst the entire squad. So if any team has anything left in the tank, it'll be the Springboks.
And will you be strolling around Twickenham Sunday morning in your green jersey if that happens?
In my green hat, yes. At this stage, I'm going to be in Paris on Thursday night for an event, and I'm trying to get tickets for Rich and I to go to the game. So if anyone wants to flog to, if you're French and you were hoping that France would be in that semi-final and you want to maybe get rid of 2 tickets, let us sister know. We are also going to be keeping an eye on WXV 1, 2 and 3 across the Rugby Pass TV streaming platform. If you can't find where it's on in your local territory, then make sure that you're watching it on Rugby Pass TV. And then something else that I need to remind you of, I've hinted at this previously. I've got some very big news. We're coming back with a bang. We will be doing a watch party and a live show in London for the big game between England and New Zealand, the 4th of November. It's going to be an early morning outing, so make sure that you keep an eye on our socials. Tickets will be going on sale very soon. It's very early, but there is honestly no better company than yours, and we'd love to have you there. We need to gather a few friends so we can cheer on our little friend in New Zealand. Keep an eye on the Good, the Scaz and the Rugby socials. B, I know you can't attend our little watch party, so you will have to bring us Cesar through to our studio once the 2 of you are in London, and then I will definitely be in touch about a little early season braai as well, because we need to get on this and be a little earlier in the season this time around. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Cesar and I will love that.
Scazzy, any jazz
I gave
hands?
you some earlier, you missed them. It was more of a tease this week rather than the full shebang, but there we are.
I missed the Scaz hands, but we'll bring the Scazzy jazz hands down to our little watch party as well. Be good luck with the rest of WXV2, and shout out to you and the girls for flying the flag the way you are. And come on, all of the fans down to Athlone this weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun and an absolute pleasure, like it always is.
We have been The Good, the Scaz and the Rugby, brought to you by Vodafone. The Good, the Scaz and the Rugby is a folding pocket production produced by Shira Kilgallen.